You know, I never thought a simple envelope in my mailbox could turn my quiet life in Willow Creek Meadows upside down. But there it was, staring at me like a bad joke. This official-looking letter from the Homeowners Association slapped me with a $500,000 fine for what they called egregious breaches of community aesthetics. I ripped it open, expecting maybe a reminder about recycling bins or something mundane. But no, it was a laundry list of nonsense. My front fence was 2 inches too short. The pebbles in my walkway formed disruptive patterns. And get this, my garage door's shade of blue was offending the neighborhood's color palette. Apparently, it clashed with the bees vibe or whatever. At the bottom, the fine was payable in 30 days to the HOA president herself, Brenda. Man, Brenda, with her sharp bob haircut, always tan skin, and that stare that could sour lemonade. She'd had it out for me ever since I skipped her mandatory welcome barbecue when I moved in 2 years ago. Like ignoring her invite was some personal betrayal in her little kingdom of cul-de-sacs. Brenda wasn't just running the HOA, she lived for it. Thrived on the power it gave her to nitpick everyone's lives. Clipboard in hand, cruising around in her electric scooter like she was the sheriff of suburbia. I think, deep down, it stemmed from her own frustrations, maybe feeling overlooked in her marriage or whatever, but she channeled it all into controlling us, turning minor gripes into crusades. I remember calling my buddy Tom, next door, who'd been here forever and knew all the dirt. He just laughed through the phone. $500,000. That's Brenda's scorched earth move, man. She pulled something similar on the old Jenkins family. Scared them right out to Arizona. But I wasn't bolting. This land under my house wasn't just dirt, it was my grandpa's legacy, a big plot he'd snagged back in the 70s before the HOA even dreamed of existing. Unbeknownst to them, I now owned the ground beneath their fancy community center, the pool, even the pickleball courts, all leased cheap with a clause about maintaining harmonious relations with the landlord. I'd kept it quiet, figuring live and let live. But Brenda's fine crossed the line, igniting this fire in me, a mix of anger and amusement, because, for once, I had the upper hand without her even knowing. She showed up a couple of days later, marching up my driveway in her khaki shorts and embroidered HOA polo, visor perched like a crown. Not knocking, just planting herself there and saying, "I assume you've reviewed your citation, Mr. Harlan. These infractions are serious threats to our property values." I leaned against the doorframe, sipping my coffee, and shot back with a grin, "Oh yeah, Brenda, my fence is practically a national security risk, and that garage blue. Total diplomatic nightmare. Should I call the UN?" Her face tightened like a drum, no humor in those eyes. She launched into a rant about standards and unity, all while her own yard had this faded flamingo statue that looked like it had survived a hurricane. She shoved a payment brochure at me, and I couldn't resist. "Does this come with free lawn gnomes? 'Cause that might sweeten the deal." She stormed off. That was just the spark. Soon, notices piled up daily, fines for my porch swing creaking too loud after dusk, for excessive squirrel traffic in my trees after I put out feeders, even for my recycling bin peeking out an inch from the garage. Tom told me over beers that she'd been boasting at the last meeting about finally reining in that troublemaker. That's when it hit me, her ego was bruised because I didn't play her game, didn't bow to her authority. Now she was escalating to prove she could break anyone. But here's where it gets good. I didn't react right away. I let her think she was winning, waving cheerfully as she scooted by, glaring daggers. Behind the scenes, I dug in. I met with my lawyer buddy, Mark, a no-nonsense guy who'd eaten HOA cases for breakfast. He confirmed it, my ownership was ironclad, and that harmony clause. Her bogus fine shredded it. So, I waited for their big spring festival at the community center, banners, food trucks, a cover band, 3 days before I filed to end the lease. Simple as that. Morning of the event, Brenda rolls up to find padlocks on the gates. Evicted, private property, signs everywhere, and a couple of security guys I'd hired just standing there, polite but firm, turning folks away unless they had my okay. I was on my porch with iced tea when she charged up the path, eviction notice crumpled in her fist, face beet red, sputtering, "This is outrageous. You can't seize our facilities. This is community land." I handed her the lease copy, sipping slow. Page 4, Brenda. That harmonious relations bit? Your half-mil stunt kind of nuked it. Should've read the fine print. She looked gut-punched, hissed something about lawsuits, and spun away as the band packed up and caterers hauled off uneaten burgers. The neighborhood whispered for days, some shocked, others secretly thrilled. I felt this rush, like finally standing up to a bully who'd pushed too far. Of course, Brenda didn't quit. She called an emergency meeting in the park since the center was mine now, sitting at a folding table like a judge, pearls clinking as she waved my eviction notice and pitched a $1,500 per house fee to sue me, calling me a disruptive force eroding our bonds. But I'd prepped with Mark. Turns out, their bylaws let us dissolve the whole HOA with over half the homeowners signing a petition, and plenty already hated her, tired of her power trips. I stood at the back, then stepped up when she opened the floor, voice steady. "Folks, before you fork over cash to fight your own landlord, yeah, that's me, know this, you can end the fines, the inspections, all of it, right now. I've got petitions here. Bylaws say 50% plus one, and poof, it's gone." The crowd shifted, murmurs rising. Old Mrs. Patel piped up, "Why pay for Brenda's grudge match?" Chuckles rippled. Brenda banged her silly gavel, "This isn't protocol." But I kept passing forms, signatures flowing like water, her face paling as her allies averted their eyes. By the end, I had 28, close, but the tide was turning. That night, my fence got mysteriously spray-painted. Anonymous complaints rolled in about my unsafe bird feeders. Tom forwarded a screenshot from their private group where Brenda accused me of plotting to turn the center into a strip mall, harassing residents with illegal locks. Pure defamation, Mark said, but I held off, building my case. Pride Day came. Their self-congratulatory bash with awards for most compliant yard. I'd wrangled speaking time in exchange for letting them use my lawn. I'd door-knocked quietly for weeks, the fine fiasco had eroded her support, even her cronies whispering about her overreach. I hit 52 signatures, enough to seal it. Up at the mic after her puffed-up speech, I said, "Hey, everyone, quick word. You've shared your frustrations, the endless citations, the meddling. Guess what? Your rules let you fix it. This petition dissolves the HOA, and we've got the votes." Gasps, then shouts, "Sick of the fees. My gnome got fined." Brenda leaped up, shoving in. "He's destroying our safeguards." But I took the mic back, calm. "What safeguards? Property is a place folks actually enjoy, not a dictatorship." Applause hit. She sat fuming as more signed on. We filed. Her injunction flopped, and boom, the HOA vanished. No more rules, just neighbors. But Brenda, stubborn as ever, tried sneaking back with a voluntary harmony group. Flyers popped up, driveway huddles with her diehards, plotting revival, her way of clinging to control, scared of irrelevance, maybe. I nixed her posters using my old easement rights over signage. Then I threw a free barbecue on the lawn, banner reading "Willow Creek free at last," folks laughing, kids bouncing, cementing the win. To lock it down, I filed a ban on any future HOA here, permanent. Her group meeting flopped with, like, for attendees, including her hubby-looking board. Then her Hail Mary, rumors of zoning tricks to grab my land, fake petitions with county stamps, and windows bluffing to rally fear. I countered with a neighborhood coffee chat, docs in hand showing her fraud. See the real versus her phony seal. The county slapped her down in a hearing, the officer deadpanning, "Ma'am, your claims are baseless. Cease the seal misuse or face fines." She left shaking, defeated. Yet I went one further. Bought her mortgage through a bundle sale, nothing personal, just leverage. Payments to me now. After 3 on-time ones, her house hit the market. Moving day, I watched from the porch as she loaded her scooter. No glance my way, just gone. The block bloomed, wild gardens, colorful doors, kids playing free. At our Victory Grill out, Tom toasted to fresh starts. But looking back, was I too harsh, turning the tables so completely? Maybe justice, or maybe overkill, pushing someone out 'cause they pushed first. What do you think? Ever dealt with a neighborhood tyrant? Was this fair play, or did it go too far? Share your stories, I read them all. And hit subscribe if you want more real-life wins like this.